Hello friends, in this series of videos we are solving LeetCode's top 50 interview problems for SQL, and we've already solved 9 problems till now. So today we will be solving 10th problem, which is average time processing per machine. So this is a very good problem in case if you are starting with practicing joins and self joins, equi joins, left joins, outer joins, whatever, all type of joins, and this is a very good problem. And I'll try to make it simple for you. Here we are given a table called activity where we have following attributes called machine ID, process ID, activity type, and a timestamp. So surprisingly, we are given an activity type of value enum. Some of the um, SQL vendors do not offer the type of enum. So definitely, but MySQL offers it, so we can definitely type the query in that sense. We have we are told that machine ID, process ID, and activity type is the primary key. So there is a composite key which can uniquely identify your tuple combination, and we are given activity type is an enum type which can have only two values, that is start and end. Timestamp is a float time representing the seconds. So start means the machine starts the process at given timestamp, and end means machine ends the process at given timestamp. So we are given this thing. Also, we are also been told that start timestamp will always be before the end timestamp for every pair. Now we are told that there is a factory website that has several machines running the same number of processes. We need to find the number of we need to find the average time each machine takes to complete a particular process. So if I do not go by the theory thing, let's directly jump into the inputs and expected output. So I've already pasted that in the text editor, one note. So we are given this table. So this is our input. So I can see that a machine ID 0 can starts a process with 0 ID at time this 0.712, and similarly it ends the process at 1.52 seconds. So I need to calculate the average for each pair, right? For each machine ID, for all the processes it runs. So let's say for machine ID 0, what all processes it runs? It runs 0 process ID with 0, and it also runs process with ID 1, right? Which we can see that for machine ID 0, it runs two processes with process ID 0 and 1. Now for each process, we are given end and start timestamps, start and end timestamps, right? Right, we are also given that thing. We need to find for each machine ID, let's say for zeroth machine ID, I need to find what is the average time it takes to run all of the processes. Average time to run all processes. So in this case, we have two processes. So we need to find the average time to run all processes. So for the first process, which is process ID 0, I will calculate the processing time as end time minus start time, which we are told in the question. So I would do 1.520 minus 0.712. Now this is the processing time of the first process. Now for the second process, what is the time? End time is 1.4.120 and the time is 3.140, which was the start time. So these are the processing times for the machine ID 0 to run process P1 and process P2, or process with ID 0 and 1, sorry, in that sense. So these are the times. Now we need to calculate the average. So we'll sum it and divide by 2. So that would be our result for process ID 0, right? Similarly for process ID 1 and similarly for n number of processes which are present in our factory, right? So this is pretty much clear now. Now, how to approach this problem is very important thing. Uh, we are told that we are given, so we need to notice one thing. We are given an enum value, right? We are given an enum value for our activity type. So in case if I had some tuples, let's say for each machine ID and for each process ID, I have tuples like start time and end time, start time and end time. Then I could have solved this problem, right? Then I could have definitely done something like this. I would have used an aggregate function called average, and I would have done end time minus start time for all of the tuples, right? I could have done like that in case if I had streamlined the tuples, right? So streamline, what do I mean by streamline tuple? So there could be, see, for this solving this problem, there could be multiple ways. One of the ways which I am using this is joins, right? I'm trying to use joins. There could be ways you can solve this using subqueries also. So subquery solutions are generally lengthy in that sense. So that's why I try to avoid those, and probably in time of running time, it also takes some more time. So I generally prefer joint solutions. If it is possible, yeah, sometimes there could be a possibility that the subquery solutions are also optimized. So it depends upon the problem to problem and the database to database. So I'm trying to solve it using joint. Right. So now, if we had tuples like for process ID for machine ID 0 and process ID is 0, I have this end timestamp, I have this start timestamp, right? I need to have something, some another table, probably for one table I would store all the start timestamp, and another table I would store all the end timestamps, right? Then I can probably match and do aggregations based on that, right? Because I know that in this all of them are start, in this, all of them are end. So for each tuple in this, I would do end minus start, end minus start, end minus start, and I would then sum up and do the average aggregations, right? Depending upon the number of processes. So, since we are given only one table over here, right? Now there is a concept of equation or self join, wherein you join a table with itself. So I will join this. If I join this table with itself, so let's say I'll erase it. And let's say if we only had machine ID 0 in the factory as of now. So I have machine ID 0, machine ID 0, process is, and only I machine ID 1 was only able to process ID with 0. Now in one table, I have this, and sorry, so in one table, this is my start table, this is my end table, right? So I have 0, 0, and what is the end timestamp of this process? I will store that in that case. So this would not be present. Only I would have only one tuple corresponding to each of the process and machine ID in start table and in end table. So in start table, I have process ID 0 and it is 0.712. And here it is an ending at 1.520. Right now, if I have something like this, then I can simply apply. I could join these two tables, or I could simply join these two tables, apply some conditions, and then get up the average thing, right? It would be difficult to understand over here. I'll start querying the data. I'll start writing the query in the editor, and probably then we can. So as you visualize it. So as usual, I will not write what attributes I need. First of all, I will identify that from which tables I need to pull the data from. So I would define one activity table as I would alias it as start. Okay, I would need to join it. I know that I need to join it. And I would name another activity table. I would join, since it is a self join, I need to alias it correctly. So I would name other activity table as end. Now, so initially, if I do not specify any condition, it would do cross product, right? It would map each and every input with the output. Each and every tuple with the first table with another table, right? I need to specify some joining condition. I know that machine ID and process ID are going to be the same, right? For even if I need to calculate the processing time, I need to be sure that machine ID and process ID are the same for both the tables. So I got my joint condition that start dot machine ID is equal to my end dot machine ID, and start dot process ID equal to end dot process ID. Okay. Also, see, now I have not applied a start condition over here, right? I can use subquery and just pull out the records from this table which have activity type as start, and pull out all the records which have activity type as end. So I can also apply one more joining condition. I need to apply an and and I can do that start dot activity type equal to start and end dot activity type equal to end. So this is what I have as of now, right? So I have joined two tables using self join. First is the using inner join, and I have these conditions, right? So in the start table, in my start table, all of the records which have activity type as start would be present, right? Right, I would have all the present attributes. Now I need to, in the output, if I see I need to pull machine ID and the processing time. So I know that I can pull machine ID from any of the tables. That is completely fine, and I need to find the processing time. So what is processing time actually? So processing time is the difference between the timestamps where the activity starts and the activity ends. So I know that my start, I need to do a difference, right? Or I would say average in the sense. So average of what? That is very much important. So average of end timestamp minus start timestamp. So my end timestamp is present in my end table. So I would take out that. I would do start timestamp, and yeah. So this is my average, and I would alias it as processing time and from. So this is the simplest query which we could write in this case. And also I need to group by, because I'm using an aggregated function. I need to group by this machine ID. Yeah. So now let's try to run this problem. Okay. So you'll definitely see one issue over here. Yeah. So we are getting values elongated, right? We are getting till precision till 15 to 20 digits, but we need only precision to 3 digits, right? So we'll then use the round function of MySQL and give me rounded till 3 digits. Yeah. So this is the query. Let's try to run it. Yeah, we are getting the correct answer. Now let me try to submit it. Yeah, so it is also getting accepted. Now, see, how did I come up with this solution is very important thing. So until unless you can visualize that what joins return, right? You need to find out that what joins return. Let's say if it is an inner join or an outer join, whatever kind of join. Whenever you join two tables, what would be the output? If you could visualize that output, then definitely you can get to the solution easily. So let's say, see, I only initially had this activity table, right? Now I am joining it with another activity table, right? So what all records would be present? See, since I am using natural join, all of the records in the left and in the right would always be present. But see, I'm using one more interesting thing, that activity type would start and activity type to end, right? So from the first table, I'm only pulling start record, and from second table, I'm pulling end type, and I'm mapping them together by joining it. Right, so machine ID, process ID, start and end. So this is wonderful, right? Because we need this thing only, right? Because it was present in pivot down fashion, wherein we had start and end for each machine or process ID. We wanted like this, start and end. So I can use it in, since it is in the same tuple, I can use it directly, that end minus start. So this is what we have required, and this is what the solution looks like. Now there could be multiple solutions. In case if you have any other doubts, that if you are not able to understand it, comment it down. I'll try to re-explain it. And don't forget to like and subscribe the channel. In the next videos, we'll solve multiple different problems of this series, and we'll continue to solve problems. And if you have any other solutions in mind, do comment it down. I'll try to pin that comment. Thank you for watching.